Hello and welcome to AFTV's Pippa's Women's Football Show with myself, Pippa Monique. And this week I'm joined by Anne-Marie Batson, who is a sports broadcaster.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Tell us a bit more about what you do.
I am a sports broadcaster, as Pippa's just said, and I work for a number of clients. So I work for the BBC 5 Live Sports Extra, I've worked for TalkSport and TalkSport 2, and various other clients as well. I do event hosting, but my true passion in life is doing live sports. That's my favourite thing. So tennis, football, I am there.
Amazing. I mean, I always bump into you at games, no matter where it is, whether it's at Kings Meadow, Arsenal, and I always see you commentating on the games.
Yes.
How's it going so far this season?
Loving it, loving it. I have to say my highlight so far was hosting a national radio show from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the North London Derby when it was Spurs women versus Arsenal women. And on the same day you had the Merseyside match up at Liverpool and Everton, and then also you had Chelsea playing at Kings Meadow. So I was flitting between the three matches actually. So I was throwing to different presenters as well as commentating on the match as well. And that was my first experience of doing a show for that length of time, and it was so much fun.
And to top it off, it was a massive crowd with huge noise level.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, I have to say, as a gooner,
I will you can say props. That was AFTV.
Yeah, exactly. I will give props to Spurs because that stadium is absolutely amazing.
I have to admit, it is beautiful.
It's amazing, and the noise and the atmosphere. The travelling Arsenal fans. There's about 3,000 or 4,000, I think, on that day. You could just hear them, and you could just hear the beef that was going on.
Yeah, it was nice. I loved it. I loved
Spurs fans and the Arsenal fans.
I can't wait for the reverse fixture now.
And I feed off that. It helps me to describe the atmosphere and provide colour of the game for people who can't be there and they're listening on the radio. So it's a fantastic match, and it's good to see you.
Of course, I'm going to be there. Now, of course, let's get into the last week of Arsenal games. It was Cup week, so we had the FA Cup on Sunday, and just the other day we had Man City in the Continental Cup. We're through to the final again. Yeah, it's like the 8th final Arsenal have been to since 2011.
Absolutely. And you know what's really fascinating about Arsenal? It's like Groundhog Day with them because they've got such a small squad. And I remember this time last year, there was real questions whether or not Arsenal could maintain the lead that they had in the WSL because of so many injuries affecting the squad. And then now we're here, and he's still, Montemurro still has a small squad, and yet he's still in the FA Cup. The team is still in the Continental Cup, and they're still in the top 3 in terms of the WSL table. So,
and Champions League.
And Champions League.
There's a lot on our plate.
There's a lot on Arsenal's plate right now, and as you said to me, I think, we're coming to the tail end of the season. You're saying to me, Anne-Marie, there's still a long way to go, and you are, and of course she's right, because she knows what she's talking about. But with such a small squad, I'm just slightly worried about injuries and certain things like that. But Arsenal's still going strong, which is what Montemurro wants.
Now we have to discuss the FA Cup game on Sunday against West Ham.
Yes.
It was a very clinical game, and I feel like they took their foot off the gas. They eased through it. They got a nice 2-0 win.
Yes.
But it was they didn't go into 5th gear. Do you think they were saving themselves for the Conti Cup?
Potentially, and I think, was that after the Chelsea loss as well?
Of course,
So I think that was kind of like a reality check as well about the level that Arsenal need to play at to beat Chelsea, and they needed a win from West Ham. But West Ham are not a pushover as a team. Matt Beard has done a fantastic job with that squad, and I love I compare them in a way like tennis. They're counter punchers. They'll wait for somebody to make a mistake and then they'll pounce and then try and get a goal themselves. But obviously with Arsenal, they can't really do that. Those are very slim margins. But you're right, there needed to be a bit of a reset, I think, after the Chelsea game, and just go out there and get the job done. Don't let your heads drop and get the job done. And that's exactly what Arsenal did.
Chelsea is the game that's going to haunt us this season.
I think
for many reasons. But now we have them in the final, and Arsenal and Manchester City, as I said before, are the only teams that have won the Continental Tires Cup. So we've reached there for the 8th time. This is, I'm not sure how many times Chelsea have got to the final, but they're through against Arsenal. Are they going to stop us from winning? Every time?
I think this is for Chelsea. I think they've reached the Continental Cup semi-finals several times and they've fallen at that hurdle. So for them, this is big.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. But it's also a big deal for Arsenal because I think both these teams want to exert dominance over the league. They want to be the number 1 team that will hold everybody else to ransom, and I think this is quite crucial with the Continental Cup. And I like the fact there's no complacency from Arsenal. They want to win. They are proper competitors and they will fight for every point. And I think that loss to Chelsea in the WSL would have taught them several lessons of where they need to improve. But I think it's fantastic. I think we're going to get a cracking final.
We have to touch on their game against Man United. I mean, Mary Earps, put them at a stop to get in the lead. But then Miguel, they got the goal in the second half. And I say star players, but two of their top players, Sam Kerr from Australia and Ji So-yeon from South Korea, were on international duty, and they still managed to get the win, 1-0 against Man United.
But I don't think the scoreline tells the true story, because
Man United
were really good, and they've got some quality players in the Man United team. And I think that for me, when I knew that they were going to be promoted in WSL, I thought these guys are going to be the ones who will take it to the top three, if you like, and they have done exactly that. And I think the fact that they managed to hold Chelsea at bay for a period of time, and then I think tiredness and things started to kick in and errors started to kick in. But, you know, you're right. With two of the most star players, if you like, Sam Kerr not being there and G being away as well, they've still got quality players. They've still got goal scorers in Chelsea. They are a force to be reckoned with.
They really are.
They are a force. And they still have a game in hand.
I know.
As well.
So, like, it's really in our hands and Man City's control. I mean, we've got City on Sunday in the league this time. I mean, we got the win over them in the week. Can we do it again on Sunday? Away. We're going to City, the Academy Stadium. Can we get a win?
I think we can. I think the momentum is behind us now, and I think if you look at the past results, Arsenal's got a really good record over Man City. They have lost at the Academy before, and I've been there for that match when they've lost and things didn't go very well. But again, they always learn the lessons, and I think I would say Arsenal are definitely the favourites for that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I was speaking to Matt Beard after the game yesterday, and I was like, do you still think you're in the... Well, we're going to touch on that. He's leaving soon, but do you still think Man City are in the title contenders? And he said we can't look at the games that are on Sunday like Arsenal v Man City or any other games like that. We have to see how Arsenal do against Everton and how Man City do against Everton and the Liverpool games and those games in between, because Chelsea and Arsenal and Man City, of course, cannot afford to drop points.
Yeah, indeed. And I think if you look at the table, you see lots of greens, hardly any reds, and maybe a couple of greys for the draws. And I think Nick's right. I think Nick is the one in the sense of Man City. They are the ones who can disrupt the rhythm for Chelsea and Arsenal. I think it's pretty much, don't hate me, Man City fans, I'm not entirely sure you will finish in the top space at the end of the season. But I think what you will do
top
is...
two?
Top two? I don't know.
Interesting.
I'm feeling it between Arsenal and Chelsea. That's the way that I'm leaning towards. But I think, as I said, Man City can disrupt, and that's what they'll want to do. It is incredibly sad about Nick Cushing moving on over to the States, and I wish him the best of luck. I think he'll have an amazing time. He's an amazing coach. Yeah. The timing, we've all talked about the timing of it, maybe not that great, but that's a strong squad. You've got Lauren Hemp, Steph Horton, Jill Scott as well. You've got players who know what they're doing, so I think they'll be able to see the rest of the month out. But Nick Cushing is a big loss, because I think what his legacy is bringing England players, developing England players. A lot of the England team, the Lionesses, they come from Man City, and that is because of him. He's been that coach since 2014.
Yeah, or 2013.
Yeah, around about that time. So he's been their coach for a very long time, and a lot of England's top players have come from his team, and I think that says a lot. I truly believe, and I might put some money on this, that I'm not a betting person, so I might just pretend in my head, but... I would think he'll be a future England manager for the women's team one day.
Wow, that's a big shout.
I do.
How far into the future? Because he's going off to New York now to pursue a career there.
In the next 5 years.
That's very soon.
I would say in the next 5 years. I really believe that.
Would you think? Do you think he'll be a good match for the Lionesses? I mean, if you was to pick out of the pool of potentials, maybe Emma Hayes, no?
Maybe, but I think, but then again, it's so great to have that competition to say that there are names that we can now put forward. 10 years ago, we would struggle to name somebody to be England in terms of leading the England team. Now we've got such a plethora of names. Maybe Emma Hayes, but I think for me, both those managers, they've got such good tactical awareness. They're good man managers, if you like. Their man management style, very personal with their players. Yeah. They watch games, and they don't just watch the women's games. They're watching the French league, the Spanish league as well, the German Bundesliga. They know their sport. The fact that Nick Cushing and Emma Hayes went out of the country to watch matches at the World Cup.
Yeah, I caught up with them.
Exactly. I remember you saying that, football's in their DNA. So I'm confident one of them, though I'm slightly leaning towards Nick Cushing, I think would become a really good England manager.
So what are you saying, final days for Phil Neville?
Not right now, no. I'm not right now, no. I'm saying in the next 5 years, because I think going over to the States is a great learning ground in terms of the MLS. Learning, it's a different way of learning as well, which can only help. It's all part of the jigsaw in becoming a well-rounded manager. So I'm saying in the next 5-10 years, I'd like to see him be England manager, You never know. Never know.
Well, we have to touch on Arsenal again. It's a very busy next few weeks. I mean, obviously Man City on Sunday. Next week, North London derby at Meadow Park, and then Liverpool away. These are really crucial games.
Yes.
What can Arsenal get out of the next few weeks? How many points can they obtain?
All the points.
Really?
Well, they need all the points.
Yeah, they need them.
Because they need to pull away from Chelsea and Man City, so they need to win the games. I think the one against Liverpool is going to be interesting because Liverpool are fighting for their lives right now, so they will want to try and at least get a draw from Arsenal. But it really depends how well the squad is going to be over the next few days. It's getting quite congested. How ironic we talk about the men's game being a congested calendar, and that's with the women's game.
There's so much games going on. I love it though. I love it.
Great, which is what we've wanted for such a long period of time. But it's now going to be a test of looking at his squad, who's going to be able to deliver what on each day, because injuries is going to start playing, because we're coming into the tail end of the season now, so there's going to have to be a bit of some tough decisions made about who's going to be the starting 11.
Well, he's already started resting players, because at the game during the week, Kim Little was sat in the stands, and I had to ask, like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, where's this come from? There's been no update about you being injured. She goes, no, I'm just being rested, which was really a big surprise and a very bold move from Joe. So, hopefully our strongest squad on Sunday.
Because I think, with Chelsea, I believe they've got a player for every position, at least, whereas I don't think Arsenal have, or correct me if I'm wrong, guys and girls, if I'm wrong about that, but that's the beauty about where we are right now in the game, that one team has that luxury and other teams having to think.
They've got a really big squad as well.
They've got a huge squad, whereas, as you just rightly said, Kim Little's been rested for a game because there's some big games and we need her very much. So, interesting. But remember, the transfer window's just closed and he has brought in Caitlin Ford.
I'm excited to see.
Absolutely.
Which I'm still questioning. I mean, we've spoken to Jo in some interviews as well, but it's still questioning what her actual position is, because she's known as a winger, a centre-back.
Okay.
No, right wing back. But then more famously known as a forward. So is she going to be support for Vivian Miedema? Is she going to be playing up front with Viv? We don't know yet.
We don't know, but
can't wait to see her in action though.
Exactly, and maybe that's a bonus. That's a bit of a blessing, because if she's that multi-versatile, we can put her where we need her. And I think, again, because we've got such a small squad, that's where Arsenal will benefit the most from her having a player that can rotate in those different positions.
All right, now I'm going to throw a big question out to you. I know it's still early to say. As I said, we've got ages to go until the season ends. But out of the top three right now, this is your moment to say. This is noted on camera, it's documented. Who can go on to win the league?
Oh, that's such a tough one.
You don't have to be biased, like genuinely, who can win the league?
As a broadcaster, I have to look at it objectively. And I think my heart would say Arsenal, of course. My head is leaning towards Chelsea purely because of that game in hand, purely because they're not in the Champions League as well. I think that will help them in terms of having fresh legs for matches. But it's so topsy-turvy right now, things could change. So I would say at the moment Chelsea, but I'd love it for the Gunners to win it, to defend the title.
I spoke to him and he said this time last year, Arsenal walked the league. It was very clear that they were going to win the league because there was points ahead. But this year it's a very different story.
Yes.
Extremely different. But I'm loving the intensity and we don't know which way it's going to go. The only hope that I have is that however the league goes, I know that we still have so many other cups that we can win this season.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it'd be fantastic if Arsenal could defend the title. They've got a good chance with the Continental Cup and they've got a good chance with the FA Cup. Champions League, I'm not too sure about.
I'm just very excited to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. It's an amazing opportunity for them as well, because they were out of it last season. But I think on domestic level, Arsenal's got every opportunity of winning those three cups for sure. Well,
let us know in the comments below. Do you think Arsenal can retain the league? Can they retain the title? How well will Chelsea get on? How well will Manchester City do? And leave your comments below. And thank you so much for Anne-Marie for joining me.
Thank you. I felt like we could have talked for hours.
It's true. It's so true. There's so much to say. But we hope you get the 3 points on Sunday, because it's a very crucial game of the season.